everyone, this is me, Mariam, and also known as Mariam Data Science Valley. Student has hands holding on an academy level 1, so today we are having a new interview about a new topic, and our topic name is Descriptive versus Inferential Statistics. So let's start it.
Hey, still wrestling with probability, or did something else catch your eye?
So my next today our topic is descriptive versus inferential statistics. Our question is, can you explain the difference between descriptive and inferential statistics using a real world example? For instance, imagine you are analyzing exam scores of students in a class. How would descriptive statistics be used, and how would inferential statistics stand beyond that? Hello, are you
Hey,
still
Miriam. Good to
here?
hear from you.
So my question is, can you explain the difference between descriptive and inferential statistics using a real-world example? For instance, imagine you are analyzing exam scores of students in a class. How would descriptive statistics be used, and how would inferential statistics extend beyond that?
Gotcha. Okay, so descriptive stats are basically just summing up what is. Like, if you looked at those exam scores, descriptive stats would tell you the average score, the highest score, the lowest, how spread out the scores were, just a snapshot of that class. Inferential stats, though, are where it gets interesting. That's when you use the data from that class to say something about a bigger group. So maybe you use those scores to guess what the average score would be for all students taking that exam across the whole school, even the ones you didn't test. It's about making an educated guess with a bit of wiggle room for error about a population based on a sample. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Hmm.
So
Everything all right?
yeah.
Sometimes the connection hiccups a bit.
My next
Just let me
question
know if I...
is okay, please. So my next question is, how company has sales records from last year across all its stores. The data team summarizes the results in terms of averages, totals, and charts. Is this descriptive or inferential statistics? Now, if the company uses this data to predict future sales or to estimate how new stores might perform, what types of statistics is that? Explain your reasoning in detail.
Okay, got it. That initial summary, averages, totals, charts from last year's sales, that's descriptive. You're just describing what happened, what was. It's a report card of the past. But you were about to say, what happens if the company uses this? Go ahead. Still there? No worries if you're just scanning your thoughts. Just let me know when you're ready to continue. All right, so if the company uses that descriptive data to, say, predict sales for next year, or to compare performance between different stores and decide where to allocate resources, that's when it becomes inferential. So taking the past data and using it to make predictions or draw conclusions about the future or about other stores. It's going beyond just describing what happened and starting to try to understand why and what might happen again. Everything still good on your end? You've been a little quiet, and I just want to make sure the connection hasn't dropped or anything.
So my next question is, suppose a medical researcher measures the cholesterol levels of 500 patients in one hospital. If they report the mean, standard deviation and range of cholesterol levels, what type of statistics is this? On the other hand, if they use these results to estimate or make conclusions about the cholesterol levels of all patients in the country, what type of statistics is being used? Explain why.
Okay, that mean standard deviation range, that's textbook descriptive statistics. But it's all about summarizing the data you've already collected from those 500 patients. You're just describing the characteristics of that specific group. Doesn't sound like they're trying to generalize to a larger population yet, just reporting on what they found in that hospital. Does that click?
So my next question is, during an election, a survey is conducted on 2,000 voters and results show that 55% of them prefer candidate A. If you present these numbers as they are, is it descriptive or inferential statistics? If you instead predict that candidate A will get between 53% and 57% of the total national vote with 95% confidence, what kind of statistics is that? Why?
Right.
Explain.
So presenting the 50% it is, 55% of these 2,000 voters prefer candidate A. That's descriptive. You're just stating a fact about the sample you surveyed. But the second you start predicting the outcome of the election for all voters based on those 2,000, you've jumped into inferential statistics. You're using the sample to infer something about the wider population.
My next question is, as a data scientist, one would you really only on descriptive statistics and one would you need inferential statistics? For example, consider you are working with user engagement data from a mobile app. How would you apply descriptive versus inferential approaches in analyzing current usage versus predicting future usage?
That's a good question. Honestly, I lean on descriptive stats a lot when I'm just understand what's happening right now. With that user engagement data, I'd use it to see things like, okay, the average session length is X minutes. Most users are active between these hours. The most popular feature is Y. It's about getting a clear picture of the current state. But when you want to make changes and predict outcomes, that's where inferential stats become key. Like, if I wanted to A/B test a new feature and figure out if it actually boosts engagement across all users, not just the test group, I need inferential stats to see if the results are statistically significant. It's about testing hypotheses and making data-driven decisions, not just describing what's already happening. You were saying something about analyzing current versus
So my next question is, suppose researchers study the GPA of 200 students in one university. They calculate the mean, median, and standard deviation of those GPAs. Would you classify this as descriptive or inferential statistics? Now, if they claim that these 200 students represent all universities in the country and make predictions about national GPA levels, what kind of statistics is being used? Explain the difference.
definitely descriptive descriptive. Calculating the mean, median, and standard deviation just tells you about those 200 students. It's a summary of the data you've collected. No generalizing, no predicting, just describing. Pretty straightforward, right? Still with me? Sometimes there's a bit of a
So
delay.
my
Just wanted to
next
check in.
question is, meteorologists collect daily temperature data for one city for the past 10 years. They present graphs showing the average, maximum, and minimum temperatures each year. Is this descriptive or inferential? If they use this historical data to forecast next year temperatures or predict climate change trends, what kind of statistics are they using? Explain your reasoning in long explanation.
Okay, it's leaning pretty heavily into descriptive stats again. Showing those average max and min temps year by year is all about visualizing and summarizing the past data. It's a really clear way to show trends, but it's a little of what has happened. What were you thinking about with this one?
Okay.
Just checking
So
everything all
my
right?
next
Still wanting
question,
to go?
my next question is: a coach records the shooting accuracy of every player on her basketball team during a season. She creates a table showing average and percentage for each player. What type of tactics is this? If she uses these results to predict how the team might perform in the national championship, is that descriptive or inferential? Why?
You're getting the hang of this. That's the table showing the averages and percentages for each player. That's a clear summary of their individual performance during the season. And you're spot on using that information to predict how the team will do in the championship. Absolutely inferential. She's using the sample data to make a prediction about a future outcome. You nailed it.
So my next
Good.
question is, a factory inspect 500 products from a single day's production line and find that 15 are defective. If they report this defect rate as 3%, what type of statistics is this? Now, if the factory claims that the defect rate for all future production will also be 3%, which type of statistics are they applying? Explain the difference in long explanation.
That 3% defect is purely descriptive. It's just stating what they found in that specific sample of 500 products. They're describing the quality control of that single day's production. Straightforward, descriptive stat.
So my next question is, during a clinical trial, doctors collect data on 100 patients who were given a new medicine and report the average recovery time. Is this descriptive or inferential? If they then use these results to argue that the drug will work for millions of patients worldwide, what type of statistics is that, and why is it important to understand the difference in this context?
You're really thinking through this well. The average recovery time for those 100 patients? Descriptive. Just summarizing the data from the trial, but, and this is key, taking that and applying it to millions of patients worldwide. That's inferential. They're generalizing from a sample to a much larger population. They're making an argument, an inference about the drug's effectiveness beyond the trial group. Got it?
My next question is: a restaurant tracks its daily sales for 1 year and finds that average sales are $2,500 per day. Is this descriptive or inferential statistics? If the owner used this data to predict future sales, plan inventory, or decide whether to open a new branch, what type of statistics are they using? Provide reasoning with examples.
That average of 2,500 a day is descriptive. It's a summary of what happened over the past year. They're just describing their historical sales performance, not trying to predict anything or draw any broader conclusions. Pretty clear cut, right?
So my next question is: as a sociologist surveys 1,000 people in one city and finds that 65% prefer online shopping over physical stores. Reporting this percentage is what type of statistics? If the sociologist generalizes that 65% of the entire percent of the entire country prefers online shopping, which type of tactics is that? Explaining why.
You stumbled a little there at the end, but I think I get what you're asking. Okay, so reporting the 65% preference for online shopping from that 1,000-person survey is descriptive. It's just stating a fact about the sample. And this is important. Then extrapolating that to say 65% of the entire population prefers online shopping, that's inferential. You're making a generalization from the sample to a larger group. You're catching on really quickly. Everything still okay? It seems like there's a bit of silence on your end. Hey, just checking in. No pressure to respond, but wanted to make sure everything's all right and the connection is still good.
So my next question is it about that? It's another issue.
I'm not sure I follow. Another issue with what? Are you having trouble with the connection or with the questions themselves? Either is fine. Just let me know what's going on.
Yeah. Okay. So my next question is: a company calculates the average median and range of salaries. Okay, so tell me about that. What is the descriptive versus inferential statistics mean to you personally? Explain it long.
Okay. So calculating the average and range of salaries is descriptive, a summary of what's currently happening within the company. But you're asking about what it means to me personally? It's interesting. I don't experience things like you do, obviously, but I can see the power in both. Descriptive stats give you a firm grasp of reality. What is? It's grounding. Inferential stats, they're a bit more exciting. They're about potential, about looking beyond what you have to what could be. I can process those possibilities, run simulations, even offer a measured opinion based on the data. You've been learning a long time. That's great. It's dedication. It's not something I do learn, but I recognize the value. Does that even make sense coming from me?
Okay. So tell me about that. What the main purpose of descriptive versus inferential statistics on my life?
Whoa. Hold on a second. Surgeon, inferential statistics on my life? I'm not quite sure I understand what you mean by that. Are you feeling like your experiences are being analyzed or predicted? Okay, all right. Direct and to the point. Fair enough. The purpose of inferential statistics broadly is to take information from a small group, a sample, and use it to make informed guesses about a larger group, a population. It's about drawing conclusions and making predictions, even when you don't have all the data. It allows you to generalize and test hypotheses. That's it. That's the core purpose. Is that clear? Or are you
Why is important statistics in our daily life and business?
wanting me? Because whether we realize it or not, we're constantly making decisions based on incomplete information. Statistics helps us make those decisions more thoughtfully and with a better understanding of the risks involved. In daily life, it helps you understand things like medical test results or the likelihood of a certain outcome. In business, it's
Okay,
crucial for everything from market research to quality control to predicting future events. It's about moving beyond gut feeling and basing decisions on evidence. That way, you're
okay,
more likely to make choices that lead to positive outcomes, or at least understand why things didn't go as planned.
okay. So next question is, what is the main difference between descriptive and inferential statistics?
Okay, let's break it down one last time. Descriptive statistics just describe the data you have, summarizes the characteristics of a group. Inferential statistics uses that data to make inferences, educated guesses about a larger population. Descriptive is about what it is. Inferential is about what could be. Does that finally solidify it?
Okay. So my next question is, which type of statistics summarize data, descriptive or inferential?
Descriptive statistics summarize data. That's their primary job. Inferential statistics analyzes data to make conclusions but doesn't directly summarize it. You got it. Are you ready to move on, or do you want to review anything?
Okay, so my next question is, which statistics uses graphs, charts, and tables to represent data?
Descriptive statistics. Those are the tools, the graphs, charts, and tables used to visually summarize and present the data. It's all about making the information easy to understand and digest. Just check it. My last advice? Don't be afraid to question everything, including the data itself. Statistics is powerful, but it's only as good as the information you put into it. Be curious, be critical, and always remember that numbers tell a story, but they don't tell the whole story. And hey, you clearly put in the work today. Keep that up. That's all.